Imagine tens of thousands of people screaming so loud that even the singer's own vocals nearly get swallowed up. Not at a World Cup final, not at a Champions League final, but on an ordinary Sunday night at Allianz Arena, Munich, Germany. BTS had just done something ARMY had been waiting 6 years for. A song they had never once performed live before, finally brought to the stage that very night. And the reaction? Beyond words. This isn't just any story. It's the story of how one German city turned into a sea of purple and how a single song managed to break the internet within hours. Stay until the end, because I'm breaking down every single detail. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're ARMY, or even just curious why BTS's name has been all over the internet lately, this video is a must-watch. So here's the deal. BTS is currently on their comeback world tour called Arirang. This isn't just any tour. It's the biggest tour any K-pop group has ever undertaken, with a total of 79 shows across 34 cities, spanning 4 continents. And one of the most emotional stops on this entire tour happened right in Germany, specifically in Munich, over 2 consecutive nights, July 11th and 12th, 2026. This video is going to focus on the second night, aka Day 2, which, according to fans and international media alike, has become one of the most iconic moments of the Arirang tour so far. Let's break it down together. Before we dive into the hysteria of the second night in Munich, it's worth taking a step back to understand the bigger picture. Why does this moment feel so emotionally heavy for ARMY? Here's the context. After releasing their album Proof in 2022, all 7 BTS members, RM, Jin, Suga, Jhope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook, had to complete their mandatory military service as required of all young men in South Korea. During that time, speculation about the group's future kept surfacing. Many wondered whether BTS would ever fully reunite as 7. The answer came in the summer of 2025. All 7 members officially announced their reunion. And now, in 2026, they're celebrating that comeback in the biggest way possible, a massive world tour titled Arirang. What makes this tour even more special is that Munich is the only German city on their itinerary. That means these 2 nights were the only chance for ARMY across all of Germany and much of Europe to see BTS live in their own backyard. The venue itself was no small choice either. Allianz Arena, a massive stadium with a capacity of over 75,000 seats, normally home to football giants Bayern Munich. It was chosen as an alternative venue because Munich's legendary Olympic Stadium is currently under renovation. So picture the scale of it, a world-class football stadium, completely transformed into a sea of purple ARMY for 2 nights straight. Before we get into Day 2, we need to talk about what happened on opening night, Saturday, July 11th, 2026. Because there's actually a fun little competition going on throughout the entire Arirang tour. In every city they visit, BTS always slips in one surprise song, something rare, or even something they've never performed live before. It's become a kind of special gift for ARMY in each city, and fans around the world have been comparing notes on which city got the craziest surprise. For context, in Tampa, they performed Pied Piper. In Mexico City, the hysteria was so intense that around 50,000 ARMY gathered outside the National Palace just to catch a glimpse of the members. Other cities got Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Dionysus, Tomorrow, and even Boy in Love. In Busan, they even performed D-Dang, a song that isn't even available on streaming platforms like Spotify. As for Munich's opening night, ARMY was treated to Silver Spoon from the most beautiful moment in life PT2, along with Pied Piper from the Love Yourself, her EP. The stadium was already roaring from the very first night. But as it turned out, that was just the warm-up. Because on the second night, something much bigger was waiting. Sunday, July 12th, 2026. The doors of Allianz Arena opened at 5 p.m. local time, and by early evening, the surrounding area was already packed with a sea of people. Many had traveled from outside Germany, from neighboring European countries, because remember, this was the only chance to see BTS in Germany. At 8 p.m., the show officially began, and according to international media reports, the stadium that night was packed with roughly 70,000 spectators. That's a massive number for a single concert, especially considering it was the second consecutive night in the same city. Usually enthusiasm dips a little on night 2, but in Munich, it was the exact opposite. That night's setlist was packed with iconic tracks: Run BTS, B, Dynamite, Idol, Fake Love, and Not Today, among others. Giant confetti cannons fired into the air, the stage lights shifted colors in sync with the music, and all 7 members performed with full energy, as if it were their very first night of the tour rather than one of dozens. But none of that was even the peak of the night. The real peak came in the middle of the show, when something truly unexpected happened. Okay, here's the part that broke the entire internet. In the middle of the performance, RM suddenly grabbed the mic and spoke to the crowd. According to videos shared by fans who were there that night, RM told the crowd, roughly, "We have to sing this together," before asking the DJ to cue up a track, shouting excitedly for everyone to join in. Seconds later, the beat dropped, and the crowd instantly knew exactly what song they were hearing. That song was Louder Than Bombs, a track from the 2020 album Map of the Soul. 7. Why was this moment so special? Because this song carries a fairly heartbreaking backstory. The album was released right before the world was hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, which ultimately canceled the entire world tour plan to support it. As a result, this song had practically never been performed live for 6 full years. Just imagine, a song ARMY had been longing to hear live for years, finally happening right in front of their eyes, on stage, in real time. The crowd's reaction? Reports say the screaming from 70,000 people was so loud that at times, the singer's own vocals were nearly impossible to hear, drowned out by the roar of the audience. Interestingly, musically speaking, this isn't exactly a happy song. Its tone leans melancholic, almost cutting, touching on the struggle of living in a world ruled by power, greed, and cruelty. But beneath that, the lyrics also speak directly to ARMY themselves, about how fans who always look so joyful cheering in front of the stage might actually be quietly struggling with things of their own, without BTS ever knowing. One line in the song speaks of an unfamiliar shadow becoming clearer within those very shouts and cheers. Yet at the same time, the lyrics also carry a quiet thread of hope, about continuing to move forward, even through exhaustion. Reportedly, the members themselves have always seemed a little puzzled about why this particular song resonates so deeply with fans. Jimin was even said to look visibly nervous trying to remember the lyrics, since it hadn't been performed in so long. But as always, they never let ARMY down. They sang it through to the very end, full of emotion. After Louder Than Bombs, the night wasn't over yet. They also performed Blood, Sweat, and Tears, the iconic track from their 2016 album Wings, which sent the stadium into another wave of screams. The impact of this moment didn't stay confined to the stadium. Within hours, the name Louder Than Bombs became one of the top trending topics on X, formerly known as Twitter, with the number of posts climbing rapidly into the millions. Short clips recorded by attendees quickly spread across platforms, from X to TikTok to YouTube. Many ARMY who hadn't been able to watch live ended up in tears just from watching the footage afterward. It proves one thing. In today's music landscape, a single surprise moment on stage can turn an ordinary stadium concert into a global cultural event, even for people who weren't physically there. Beyond what happened on stage, the atmosphere outside the stadium was just as electric. Days before the concert, the area around Allianz Arena was already buzzing with massive preparations. An official BTS pop-up store opened in downtown Munich, complete with a timed booking slot system due to overwhelming demand. Munich's public transit system even had to adjust its routes in anticipation of the surge in passengers on concert nights. Several subway lines had special route changes, and the nearest station to the stadium had to briefly close after the show due to the sheer volume of people trying to head home at once. It's real proof of just how massive this event was. Not just the concert itself, but how an entire major city like Munich had to genuinely prepare to welcome BTS and ARMY arriving from all corners of Europe. After 2 emotionally packed nights in Munich, the Arirang tour is far from over. Next up, BTS heads to France, with 2 shows at Stade de France in Saint-Denis on July 17th and 18th. There's also fresh music news. After the first single from the Arirang album, Swim, hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 back in April, their label just announced that the next single will be titled Normal. a track co-written with renowned producer Ryan Tedder. So it's safe to say BTS's momentum right now is truly at its peak, not just in terms of their comeback and massive tour, but also in terms of global chart success. If we take a step back and really reflect on it, this louder than bombs moment in Munich wasn't just about a song finally being performed live. It was about a long-awaited payoff. About a group that once had to step away temporarily for their individual duties, only to come back with even more energy than before. And for ARMY, it's a reminder of exactly why they held on through years of waiting for a moment like this. It's not just about the music, it's about the emotional connection built between BTS and fans around the world, something rarely found anywhere else in the music industry. Munich Day 2 might just be one night out of dozens across the Arirang tour. But for the 70,000 people who were there that night, and the millions more who watched it unfold through their screens, that night will always be remembered as one of the most historic moments in BTS's journey. So that's the full recap of just how intense the second night of BTS in Munich really was. What do you think? If you had been one of the 70,000 people inside that stadium that night, how loud do you think your own reaction would have been? Drop a comment below, especially if you're ARMY and caught the live stream that night. Tell me your favorite moment from the show. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, share it with fellow ARMY so more people know about this incredible moment, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss updates on where the Arirang tour goes next, including what happens in Paris next week. See you in the next video. Stay strong, ARMY.